Hi everybody! I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this piece, the golden butterfly, because it's been a talked about piece since I launched this exhibition at the beginning of February here in the hotel. This last weekend I was giving a couple tours for some friends and a couple hotel guests and telling the story of this particular piece. And it's just been the one where people are most interested in this story. It's really unique. Not only is it the first piece of my exhibition, it was also one of the first pieces that I made when I started working on this whole project quite a few months ago. It's already sold, but it's just one that I think is very interesting, and I wanted to tell you guys more about the backstory. So in my poetry book, this is one of two prophecies that come in the beginning of my book, the golden butterfly and four horses. And by prophecy, really for me, it just meant like these happened years ago, and to me they were kind of like initial markers to what would be in the future. So the backstory to the golden butterfly actually began 5 years ago. Some of you may know, but I owned a shop for 10 years in Kansas City's historic West Side neighborhood. I previously, before my art career, was an ethical fashion designer, and my shop, MADI Apparel, carried pieces of apparel that we made locally in Kansas City via living wages. So ethical fabrics, living wages, those are big deals to me. We have a nonprofit called MADI Donations, where for any item someone would buy at MADI Apparel, we would then donate a pair of underwear to women all over the world. Beautiful garage door that was wide open, and I was getting ready to open. It was about an hour before our open time, and a man comes strolling down the sidewalk. He is dressed in a very interesting outfit that I'll never forget. He was wearing a full top hat, a full black suit, dress shoes, and he was carrying a briefcase. He came up to me on the sidewalk and said, "I'm the man who sent the email." And all of a sudden my stomach just kind of dropped, and I got a little bit nervous. It's just like the way he said it, and he didn't really wait for a response or to coordinate any kind of arrangement of delivering this gift, but instead just showed up unannounced that very next day. So it felt urgent, a little bit creepy, and then the man proceeded to tell me, "I have this gift to give you." And so I said, "Wow, thank you, I'm looking forward to receiving it," and kind of asking him to give me a little bit more information there on the sidewalk. And he asked if he could come inside. He said, "Can we get off the sidewalk so I can give you this gift inside?" And although I'm sure that was a bad idea, someone might think I was crazy that I let him in when I was by myself. In this situation, something in me just said, go ahead and do it, even if I was scared. So I let him inside, asked him to sit on the couch, and I rushed behind the shop register and quickly texted my husband and a good friend that worked at the shop down the block and asked them to both come urgently. And then I went and sat down with the man on the couch, and he again said he had this gift for me, and went into his briefcase, pulled out this wrapped parcel in sort of like cotton, like soft parchment paper, almost like muslin cotton, that was all wrapped up, and he handed it to me. And I said, "Is it safe?" And he said, "Yes, of course it's safe," and was kind of chuckling. And so I proceed to open it, and in this parcel is a golden glass butterfly with a poem. And neither really made sense to me. I just was, to be honest, pretty creeped out. I had no idea what this golden butterfly was. And so he could sense my confusion. I tell him, kind of like, "Thank you." And he then, you could see he was really agitated. He was like, "You don't understand what this is? Like, this is the golden butterfly. The only other person that knows about this is your doctor." And that's all he said. I just was obviously like really creeped out. I had no idea what he was talking about. Within a few minutes, my husband and the neighbor down the block actually come in and kind of gently shoo him off. I never saw him again, but what happened next was pretty crazy. I get in my car after I closed my shop that day, and in flew a real golden butterfly into my car, landed on my steering wheel, kissed my fingertips, and then it was there long enough for me to even get a few pictures, because I sent it to one of my employees who I had told this story of the man coming in earlier that day. So that was just such a crazy experience. I didn't think about it for a few years. Actually, I ended up sadly throwing away the golden butterfly in the poem, because a few years passed and I still didn't understand the meaning. It didn't resonate with me at all, like with what I was going through, until this summer when I had my miscarriage, my left ovary removed, and I had just so much time in silence to think. And I remembered that day, and because butterflies kept coming up a lot for me. There's a poem in my book about a blue butterfly that I saw at the park that was bowing to me. I bowed back, and like we really saw each other. So this summer was just a season of me really seeing things in nature. And so I had taken a photo of not only that real butterfly in my car that day, but also the crystal golden butterfly and the poem. The photo was of them both together, which I'll include in this recap. And what was crazy is how much the poem related to my life. I don't have it memorized, but the poem said something like, golden butterfly, I call on you to change me, to walk with me through this transformation of transforming, becoming a new person and shedding that old life. Help me not to be afraid of changes, that kind of thing. The poem was actually really lovely. It was full of hope, and just, it was like a prayer card, to be honest. And I changed my mindset on being fearful of that man, who I still have no idea who he is, to thinking about him differently. Like, we all think of things in unique ways, and some might think that was some kind of coincidence or just a creepy random guy, but to me it really resonated, and I'll never forget it. So that's what led me to make the golden butterfly. To me, it felt like my summer and my fall, it was all about becoming a new person, transforming. I'm still that old me, but I've grown so much through kind of trauma and coming out on the other side of that, and as my whole exhibition states, flying in the dark. So this is one of my favorite pieces to make. I'm going to show you some details here. This is the only piece in my collection that's embroidery and on fabric instead of canvas or paper. And like I said, I was kind of shocked that this was the first one to sell, because to me it was just something I really wanted to make that resonated with me, but I wasn't sure if it would resonate with others. So in true kind of honor of my shop and where this guy brought me this message, this is on cruelty-free silk, which we made pillowcases and sleepwear and sleep masks out of. It's made by small family farms in rural India, and cruelty-free meaning the silkworms are able to make silk and not be boiled alive in the process, which is the traditional way. So this specific way of making what's called peace silk or cruelty-free silk, which I have here and sourced for my business, I thought this would be perfect, because it means a lot. Not only does it make me remember my shop and my ethical fashion brand, but it also has a lot of meaning behind it. So I embroidered this
and I used sumi ink. And the leaves are actually hand dyed with marigold and indigo dyes by Alex Jacobs, who did a lot of dyeing, natural dyeing for me with my brand. And the quote says, "Look inside for the answers. It's time to let go of that old version of yourself when you're ready."